This is the story of Charlie Thompson. Now, Charlie, he died at the young age of 18 years old. He was killed by an intruder who broke into his home while Charlie was live streaming some video games for others to watch him play the video games, and he would comment on the game while he was playing, and he would read comments, and he would play this game. Well, before he started playing the game, he took his dog out back to feed his dog, and when he did this, he had to unlock his back door, obviously. So after he was done feeding his dog, he brought the dog back in. And he didn't lock the back door. He didn't lock it. I mean, it's just a regular neighborhood. He didn't think anything out of the ordinary was going to happen, so he didn't lock the door. So he went back upstairs, started his game. He's commenting, playing the game, and he's got the volume up real loud. He's there by himself, him and his dog. He had a Queensland, and he named this dog T-Rex, and it was getting late. It was in the evening time, and he was playing for a few hours. Now the story goes that an intruder had come into his house because he didn't lock the back door. So the intruder came in the back. Now, while Charlie was playing this game on the live stream, he started to hear his dog bark, his dog T-Rex. So naturally, he wanted to see what was going on. So he put the game on pause. He went to look, and he was upstairs in his room. He opened his door, and he went to look. And when he looked, he saw that his dog was barking at somebody that had broken into his house. And so naturally, he got frightened, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be scared or of something like that? And he started, the reports say he started shouting at the intruder, get out of my house. What are you doing in here? You don't belong here. You're trespassing, things like that. So the intruder saw him, and he started to run towards him. He ran upstairs towards Charlie. And Charlie, he ran to his room, locked the door. He got on his live stream. And he started to ask for help. He started to beg people for help. He was like, somebody call 911. There's an intruder in my house. He's trying to attack my dog. Somebody help me, right? And while he's pleading for someone to help him, you can hear somebody trying to break into his room. The door was being pounded on, like somebody was trying to break in. So then when Charlie realized this, you could see Charlie start looking for something to defend himself, right? He's looking through books and stuff like that that were on his desk. He looks at his controller real quick. He holds it, he drops it, and then his door breaks open. And when his door breaks open, you could see the intruder come in, knock him down, like tackle him, and he overpowered Charlie. I mean, Charlie's 18 years old. He's not that big. He's just a regular average teenage kid. He's not very muscular, obviously. He was overpowered by this intruder. And what this intruder does, he takes out a switchblade, and he starts to stab Charlie repeatedly. Charlie's screaming, he's pleading for his life, he's saying help, all while this intruder is stabbing him over and over and over again. He does this so much that Charlie eventually stops screaming, and the intruder just stops stabbing him. The intruder looks up at the computer. You could see the desktop here. He looks up at the desktop, and he's got a baseball cap, but the brim is really low, so you can't really see his face. The brim is low, so you can't see anything. So once the intruder realizes that he's live streaming, he knocks down the desktop, the monitor, and he leaves. He doesn't steal anything. He leaves. But Charlie's long gone, passed away. His dog is barking still. Nothing really much after that. His parents come home. They see what had happened. They're really devastated. They call the police and things like that. And months go by. And his parents, I guess they sold the home because they didn't like what happened there to their son. So they no longer live there. They moved out. But here's the interesting thing about Charlie Thompson. The story goes that there are a number of reports online that people that have been murdered in their homes by intruders. But the thing about it is that it's almost the exact same way Charlie was murdered. Live streaming, things like that on the or doing something on live, and an intruder comes in, breaks in, and they die the exact same way Charlie died. Now that's the story of Charlie. Now there's another story floating around that the intruder. I mean, people believe that this intruder. Well, you can't see his face. You don't know who he is. He's got the hat real low, so you can't see his face, the baseball cap. So there's a story going around that the intruder was murdered in his house by another intruder. That's a legend or a story or whatever. But the people that have moved in to Charlie's house, because his parents sold the house, they have reported of seeing an entity or seeing something or hearing noises in their house. Especially in Charlie's room where Charlie used to sleep at. They say there's a lot of activity in that room, and it happens once a year. And they never knew why it was happening this once a year until they started doing the history, the research on it, and they realized that on this specific day was the same day that Charlie Thompson was murdered. And so every year they hear stuff. They hear people walking up and down the stairs. They hear noises coming from the room. They hear the door being pounded on as if somebody's trying to break in or break out, and things like that. And that's pretty much it. That's the story of Charlie. And there's a mystery behind his death. Like, why did the intruder break into his home and not steal anything? Was it because he was frightened of the dog? Did he realize that Charlie was home and he killed him, or does he have some sort of resentment for killing Charlie and just left the house without stealing anything, or what was behind him becoming an intruder into Charlie's home? Because nothing was taken. Nothing was taken. Just Charlie's life. And there's the other story of the intruder being killed in his home by an intruder. So they don't know if that's legitimate or not, because they don't even know what this intruder looks like, because they never saw his face, right? And then other reports of people that have passed away doing the exact same thing Charlie was doing when they met their deaths. And so, you got these three different elements here for this ghost story. And it's really weird because you can go online and look up these kind of things, and you could see that, and you could see how Charlie's story is similar to these other people's untimely deaths. The gameplay, live streaming, intruder breaks in. It's very sad. But there's also this app that came out a few years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Charlie. This app. I don't know. I don't think that has any connection to Charlie's death, but I mean, a lot of people probably believe that too, but we don't know. We don't know the true origins of this guy who created this app and things like that, or this lady or whoever created the app, what led them to create the app of Charlie. And then you have Charlie Thompson, who was murdered at the age of 18. Is this app an element for Charlie to reappear and speak to people to try to solve his murder, his untimely death? And if this intruder was in fact murdered by another intruder, because again, you don't see his face or anything, but I mean, these are just questions that are legitimate to ask in situations when it comes to ghost stories and things like that. But that's the story of Charlie Thompson. Yeah. And his entity coming back on the anniversary of his death.